Hi, Raiders. If you're like me, you pick up your textbook and you see this whole thing for the 8 math practices, you're probably a little overwhelmed. But don't worry, Mrs. Schlecht's got your back. This is Mrs. Schlecht explains the 8 math practices in 8 minutes or less. First off, you're probably wondering, what the heck are these 8 math practices and what do they got to do with me? Well, the 8 math practices are how we think about math and how we solve math. It's pretty much how we get math done. So let's take a look at that first math practice. So if you look in your book, math practice number 1 says, I can make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. It also gives you a lot of examples about that. But what if I don't know what that means? Well, math practice number 1 basically says you can solve problems without giving up. I know sometimes when you look at a math problem, it looks really scary, but you got it, right? Math practice number 1 is really just asking you to work through a problem, persevere, don't give up. You got it. Math practice number 2. In your book, it says you can reason abstractly and quantitatively. What? Math practice number 2, what it really means is that you can think about numbers in many different ways. So maybe this means that you look at a big, long multiplication problem and you decide to decompose or take apart that number so you can multiply with more friendly, compatible numbers. That works. Math practice number 2 is all about asking you to work with these numbers, change them around, and make them work for you. All right, math practice number 3. In your book, it says you can construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. Basically, what that means is that you can state your opinion, you can explain your thinking, and you can also listen to that opinion of your classmates as well. So math practice number 4 says that not only can you explain your thinking about math, but you can also listen to your classmates explain their thinking about math. So all those number talks on Flipgrid, that's what it's getting to. All right, math practice number 4. Number 4 says that you can model with mathematics. Basically, that means that you can think about math in so many different ways. So math practice number 4 might mean that maybe you draw a number line, maybe you use an area model, maybe you just write out an explanation. I don't know. You can show me your work in many ways. That's math practice number 4. All right, math practice number 5. Number 5 says that you can use appropriate tools strategically. That basically means you can use your math tools when you got to use your math tools, and you use the right math tools when you got to use the right math tools. So math practice number 5 is getting to how do you know what tool to use and when to use it? When do I need to use a ruler? When do I need to use a calculator? When do I need to use manipulatives? I don't know. Math practice number 5. You got to decide which tools you need to use for which problem and why. All right, math practice number 6. Math practice number 6 says that you can attend to precision. That means being clear. Labeling our answers, maybe. This means that you can work carefully and check your work. Check your work. Always super duper important. Make sure that you are in fact answering the question that was asked of you and that you didn't transpose the numbers wrong, right? If it's a decimal, make sure you're still using a decimal and whatnot, okay? Number 6, you can work carefully and you can check your work. Math practice number 7. So math practice number 7 says that you can look for and make use of structure. Basically, that means that you can take what you know and apply it to stuff you don't know. So number 7, I can use what I already know and connect it to my new learning. You may have thought about this when you were in 3rd and 4th grade. You all knew how to add. You knew what adding meant. But then multiplication, it was just repeated addition, right? So you were using that knowledge that you knew about how to add, and you were just connecting it to that new skill of multiplying. All right, and that brings us to our final one, math practice number 8. Number 8 says that you can look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. All that means is you can look for patterns and you can look for structures and you can follow those patterns and those structures. So math practice number 8, you can look for patterns and rules for new learning. Again, kind of like number 7, you can take what you know and apply it to something that you don't know, a new learning. All right, you fine people, before I go, let's just review these 8 math practices. Math practices, why do we gotta do it? Well, it's how we get math done. And you've actually been doing all these math practices ever since you were a little bitty kid. Bet you probably didn't even know that. Number 1, I can solve problems without giving up. Think of that little engine that could. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, and you will. Math practice number 2, I can think about numbers in many ways. Like we illustrate on those number talks, everyone's math brain is beautiful and it all works differently. How I think about the problem might not be the same way that you think about a problem, right? And that's okay. Good math students are able to look at numbers from all these different angles and make the numbers work for you. Math practice number 3, I can explain my thinking and listen to others, right? Having that math talk. I believe that the answer is 36 because blah, 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 blah. Oh, interesting. Well, I disagree with you. I think that the number might be 46 because blah, 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 right? You share your opinions, but you also listen to the opinions of others to help you build your own math understanding. Number 4, I can show my work in many ways. Same thing, maybe you're drawing a picture. Maybe you're like a number sentence type person. Maybe you're like a modeling person. I don't know, you gotta make it work for you. Number 5, I can use math tools and explain how to use them. When do I use a calculator? When do I use a ruler? When do I use a protractor? Oh, I don't know. Number 6, I can work carefully and check my work. Like, to be honest, some of the biggest mistakes that I see as a math teacher are people not checking their work. Come on, people, check your work. All right, number 7, I can use what I know to help me with new learning. Again, like that repeated addition, right? You know how to add, but then you added that new skill of multiplying, right? You're using what you know to help you build up to some new learning. All right, and lastly, number 8, I can look for patterns and rules for new learning. Yeah, that's how we get like formulas and stuff, and like the standard algorithm is that we're looking for patterns, we're looking for rules, and then we're just repeating them over and over and over and over again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is Mrs. Schlecht explains the 8 math practices in 8 minutes or less. If you have any other questions, let me know. If you were like so interested in these math practices, check out all the great information that's not only in your textbook, but it's also online as well.